Hello, everyone. This is Bhavesh Pitroda from Images Group, and welcome you all to the TechWay Pod for this week. Uh, this week, we have a very interesting discussion on multi-fulfillment center. And just to give you a backgrounder of the topic, omni-channel has been a buzzword for last 5 years, and uh, but now it has become like a must-do for brands and retailers. Internet commerce is the next big thing, which is for every brand and retailer has become a topic of discussion in, in, in across the operations. Fulfillment has still been a challenge for brands and retailers with multi-city stores, warehouse, and on top of it, e-commerce orders. With evolving consumer demands, the need for shorter delivery time has been a challenge for most of the brands and retailers. So today we have Kunal Mehta. Kunal Mehta, as we all know, has been a technology practitioner, retail technology practitioner, and has been working with, has been an industry veteran with a lot of experience around technology deployment for various retailers and brands. Welcome, Kunal. So, Kunal, to start off with, my first question to you is MFC as a concept in India is new. We wanted you to enlighten our viewers on how MFC works. How can MFC bring a better customer experience for brands and retailers?
Hi, can you? Bhavesh, I think NFC as a concept has always been there for the longest of time, especially over the last 1 decade. I've definitely seen a lot of players trying their hands on different models and trying to make it work. I have worked with a brand who's worked on this particular fulfillment model also once before, but failed. I've seen a couple of other players right now, especially in the grocery retail space, where they've been trying this out, especially during the pandemic. We also hear a lot of e-commerce players tying up with, the Kirana stores, as their fulfillment centers also. So the model has definitely been there. In the Indian context, I think people are still trying out different things and seeing what's really going to work for them or not going to work for them. But if you look at the Western countries, especially the US, I think the model has done wonders for them. You find Amazon and Walmart really doing path-breaking work on this by using this model. Walmart with their stores, they've got a huge space already available from their perspective. Amazon, you keep hearing again, is tying up or with retailers or building their own dark warehouses. So it's definitely working. I'm sure people have done their researches on that front. To me, the concept is very, very important. And I think that's something which is going to not just help retailers scale through this pandemic, but also it is the future of retail in some ways or the other, which is going to help them, from their shipment and, the shipping and the fulfillment priorities that they have. I think it's going to become very aggressive. The investments are going to increase tremendously. And I think that's going to be a major battleground for retailers going forward.
Sure, Kunal. So, in terms of tech stack, if you can please share with us, is there any additional tech stack required from our traditional warehouses, or how do retailers or brands plan the MFC if they have to introduce as a concept in their operation?
So tech stack, if I look at it, I don't think it's just purely what you put in the warehouses, right? It goes much beyond that also, Bhavesh. So right from the time of when you create a product in your system, in your ERP, right? Today, a lot of the retailers, at least in the Indian context, their product details are not very enriched in terms of the shapes, in terms of the sizes, the amount of space that every product takes, the packaging, all of that, right? All these details need to be stored and maintained on a regular basis. So you need to have a very strong PIM in the back end to store this information that becomes a starting point for every retailer, right? Because how do you define the space that you need in the warehouse? By the number of products, by the number of packages that you want to keep, and the amount of space that each of these packages would require, right? So the entire product cataloging one needs to be very, very strong. Secondly, I think, of course, the way the warehouses are structured in terms of how they're stacking the products, whether it's vertical, whether it's horizontal. I think those things are going to start playing a big role. But I see a huge potential for AI and robotics in this case playing a major role in improving this overall efficiency. I think that's going to be a path breaker for each of these businesses to really go and invest in technologies that will help them do these fulfillment. So I think robotics and AI is the space to be in.
Sure. The hyper delivery segment is significantly rise due to COVID.
Yeah.
Dunzo recently announced that it aims to launch around 250 MFCs. Apart from logistics, do you see a scope in B2C, B2B segment as well?
Absolutely. So when I look at players like Dunzo, etc., to me, in a certain way, they're also playing the role of dark warehouses, right? They're playing that fulfillment role over there. So there's a huge scope for them also to increase it. I don't know what's the basis or the logic of saying we're going to open 250 warehouses. I'm sure they've done their research on that part of it. But have they tied up with the large retailers, or are they just piggybacking on the fact that we'll grow and then people will reach out to us? If that's the strategy, I have my doubts that will really go far, because you need to have strong players working with you to make all of this really work together, right? Because every retailer, every player will also start looking at their own infrastructure, going ahead and building on to that. So until you don't have a strong strategic partner, just being bullish is probably not the right way to do. But I think it's a great model that they have in hand, and the customer experience definitely changes. I think that's the other space where everyone's going to be really, really working hard on, because your ship to delivery, I think that's the area where customers have now got used to the fact that they want the same day shipping. So, for example, in the US, 92% of the online grocery consumers, they want the same day shipping, and 65% of them would consider switching from one retailer to another, even without blinking an eye. So having partners like a Dunzo would definitely help retailers, provided there are strategic tie-ups and there's a strategic understanding of where these warehouses are opening up also.
You said, correct. Kunal, you said AI and robotics are going to play a key role. For this particular concept. Can you please also tell us, how AI can work well when these kind of concepts are being rolled out, in terms of making it in a better customer experience? How does it actually work in this scenario?
Okay. So again, it comes down to what products are really working well, what products are not working well in each of the areas that you're catering to, right? That's extremely important to understand the efficiency and the automation of how you want to place the products. I recently saw a very, very interesting video where the entire warehouse was of about 2,000 robots. Okay, all you find in the warehouse is robots, nothing else. All these robots do is, pick up material, right, and put it within a particular box, right, which they're carrying with them. Which means that there is human intervention only in managing the robots, or if they get stuck somewhere, right? But how does this really work in terms of efficiencies? You need to understand which products are selling where, what is more localized, combine that with the efficiency that you have within the business to really figure out how to take it forward. So AI is what's really going to help you in understanding the consumer needs, what's selling what at what point of time, catering to which season, catering to which region, gather that data and help robots work in a more optimized and a much faster way in terms of fulfilling the orders of the customer. So making that, even within the warehouse now, you got to start looking at the last mile efficiency, right? About was I taking 5 minutes to complete the pickup of this order? Can I reduce it to 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes and improve my efficiency? I think it's going to boil down to that.
Absolutely. Consumer demand is evolving, and you want to buy stuff immediately as soon as possible, I think.
Absolutely.
So coming on to the categories, groceries, yes, of course, this is going to work very well. It's going to be a game changer because the kind of business models groceries are into. But how about other categories, Kunal?
So I see two more categories which can really see this model doing wonders for. One is health and beauty,
Correct.
and the other is pharmacy. Also, the reason for that is these categories have products which are similar to FMCG in the way that they're well packed, and hence shipping becomes easy. Picking of these products becomes much easier. There is it's more organized in terms of the products efficiency and all of that. So I think these two categories are the other areas which can see a lot of improvement in terms of MFCs being used for that.
Sure. Finally, is surely the element of retail in the future. But ROI is as well important.
Yeah.
How does, according to you, what should retailers and brands be focusing on when they try to deploy these kind of solutions?
So one, I think obviously the low, the overall the overhead costs, right? So I think micro fulfillment is, in my sense, I see that reducing the costs of picking up an order by nearly 75%, if you ask me. And the reason for that being is that you're not doing any more manual picking, which means that whatever you're doing is completely guided to you by the systems, right? The agility to which you're picking up orders is much more faster, and I think that should also help you save millions of dollars going ahead in terms of order fulfillments. The whole last mile delivery becomes easier because with the whole pandemic thing, what's happened is a lot of customers have actually shifted to online, and even and as we go ahead, I think even if things get back to normal, I think people have become so used to things being delivered to them sitting in their confines of their houses that grocery shopping is not going to be the same anymore going ahead. And so a lot of these stores, supermarkets, hypermarkets are going to have enough space with them which can be converted into MFCs going forward, right? And these are what I call as urban centers in my language. And also because now they are more closer to the customers, they ensure faster delivery and sometimes within hours. I think that's going to become extremely important. I think the whole concept is going to change going further, and that is going to help reduce the costs going ahead, because you're going to have fixed space allocated to that, where you're doing only this within the store also. So you're using your space, your space utilization cost has definitely gone up tremendously.
So finally, any thoughts on how businesses are evolving post COVID, and technology has become a key driver for success. So we wanted just a closing note from you on what should brands and retailers focus on apart from omni-channel. Yes, fulfillment is a very challenging area, and it's the most demanding area. So some thoughts on the closing remark of what should be the way forward for brands and retailers from your viewpoint.
Uh, Bhavesh, everyone talks about all the problems of pandemic. I've seen the silver lining part of the pandemic also, where business functions have actually come together while discussing things and taking decisions in a better way, right? I think technology is going to become the key. I think a lot of traditional retailers have started looking at technology from a very different eye now. It's not something which is just needed to run the business on a day-to-day basis, but it's become in so many ways technology is the driver now. It's their bread and butter to actually run their businesses. Without that, they're not going to be able to go further. E-commerce has definitely picked up. So the whole omni-channel story, which we've all been talking about for years in various forums, I honestly I think in the last 1 year, the amount of inroads that each of the retailers have made, especially the traditional ones, has been amazing. It's been phenomenal. Everyone I talk to has definitely used this time to invest in technologies from the long-term perspective. Even the warehousing companies have started looking at not just building warehouses, right, but investing in these technologies around AI and ML and robotics. And you yourself is quite involved with a lot of startups, right, in the ecosystem. And all of a sudden, I see all these startups, especially in the analytical space, or the AI ML space, getting a lot of funding. And there's a lot of pilot work that each of them are really doing right now. So it's quite amazing how things have just changed over the last 1 year, and in the positive direction. The most important part of it, right? It's quite exciting. I think the next 1 or 2 years, it's going to be very challenging for all CIOs to keep that momentum going for themselves. Also, they've got a seat now where the CEO and various functions are listening to them. But obviously, that comes with a lot of responsibility, because now they will have to work equally harder to ensure that the ROI is well driven within the organization. The success of these projects also lie with them to a certain extent, because though the business teams are involved, I think nobody understands technology better than the CIOs. They'll really have to push themselves an extra mile to make these projects work, and get a seat for themselves in the boardrooms.
Thank you, Kunal. That was very interesting. A short and quick discussion. Thank you, everyone, for hearing this, and hope you'll keep following Indiaretailing.com. Thank you, Kunal, again.
Thanks so much for having me here. Thanks, Bhavesh.